Words from today's Gospel. You will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. There's a strange, dreamlike quality to today's Gospel, a sense of things in abeyance, waiting for the main events to begin or to resume. That's a bit like how we may feel at this present juncture in the third lockdown. Life is reduced to essential tasks and essential occupations and industries, essential institutions. Many people find walking helps if they find they have time on their hands, because others are busy working from home and looking after children, or are in essential and necessary occupations to keep basic services and industries going. But walking is something we are encouraged to do if and when we have the chance. But one thing we are warned not to do is to walk with anyone who's not of our own household, and we are warned not to stop and talk with anyone whom we might meet. But that's just what we see Jesus doing in today's Gospel. Jesus seems to be walking a lot in today's Gospel, almost aimlessly. He meets people by chance, seeming strangers, and he begins a conversation with them. He's not preaching or healing or teaching. His wanderings, though, have a purpose. He seems to have an uncanny knowledge of other people, which they in turn find quite disconcerting. He notices people and he remembers them. And so, in explanation to Nathanael's somewhat startled question, he says, "I saw you under the fig tree." The Gospel then describes things which we once took for granted but cannot do at the moment. Meeting new people, making new friends, introducing one person to another. But in fact, that's how Jesus began his work. We can't meet one another like that at the moment. Does that mean we can't meet Jesus either? Long ago, the church faced that question. It was answered by Jesus himself. Just before the end, he told his friends he was going away, but that wouldn't be the end of his relationship with them. And way back in those first encounters of which we just heard, Jesus said already, he said that there was much more to come than this human interaction. So he says, you will see greater things than this. You will see heaven opened, and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. So through the Spirit, Jesus can be with us, through prayer, in the Bible and in worship. And indeed in the Eucharist we are closer to him than at any other time, because then we are called, like the disciples, to share his saving mission to the world. So in this service, where Jesus is present, the angels of God are ascending and descending on the Son of Man. Perhaps Jesus wants us to recall the story of Jacob's ladder, where in a dream Jacob saw angels ascending and descending between heaven and earth on a ladder set up to heaven. Jesus must mean that he is taking the world up to God and also making God present down here in the world. Jesus is the permanent link between God and humanity, between God and the world, where two-way traffic between earth and heaven occurs. That traffic up and down the ladder between heaven and earth is what we are doing in the Eucharist. The traffic is our prayers and intercessions, carried by angels to heaven and God's presence, and God's blessing and his presence with us here, carried down to us. So when many of us are feeling isolated and cut off from family, cut off from the community, cut off from the church, it's comforting to know that Jesus has seen us, has noticed us as he did Nathanael, and remembers us. Jesus can make his presence felt, just like our friends and family can at this time, not by physical proximity, but in the world and sphere of thoughts and prayers. So through Jesus, we can offer the world to God for our world to become more like the world of love and sharing where God is. And that world above can come down to us to shed its light in a dark world. And this ministry of intercession and of doing and praying the Eucharist is ever more necessary at the moment, no matter if we participate in a live-streamed or recorded Eucharist. This sense of the traffic between heaven and earth was well captured by the poet Francis Thompson, who spent part of his life in Storrington, in the poem The Kingdom. The angels keep their ancient places, turn but a stone, and start a wing. 'Tis ye, 'tis your estranged faces that miss the many-splendoured thing. But, when so sad thou canst not sadder, cry, and upon thy so sore loss shall shine the traffic of Jacob's ladder, pitched betwixt heaven and Charing Cross. Yea, in the night, my soul, my daughter, cry, clinging to heaven by the hems. And lo, Christ walking on the water, not of Gennesareth, but Thames.